members. We say that he is conflicted.
Honorable member, please. You are a highly respected legal luminary. You were lecturing law at the university. You are now a member of parliament, and you carry a lot of respect. What you are submitting now is at the wrong forum. That is at the wrong forum. And so please, I will just advise that you move to another issue, because you know what to do. The issue you are raising, not here. Please, by our rules, you know what to do. You cannot come through the back door. Go through the front door and come properly to this house. You may move. One is Honorable Kwame Anyimadu-Antwi, and I'm told he is to have 10 minutes. So, Honorable, you may do so now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the report that is ably presented to the House by the chairman of the committee, Honorable Ehiafo. Amongst the things that the first deputy speaker had told Ghanaians are that the new patriotic party members on our side, before we could do or finish the vetting, had indicated, I chose my words correctly, before we could conclude, before we could conclude the vetting, had indicated that we were going to vote en bloc. What the chairman refused to tell this House and Ghanaians are the reasons that we had adduced for voting against the nominee. We indicated at the committee that we're going to vote against the nominee. Mr. Speaker, amongst the other things that we have stated are that there are 7 separate proceedings at the various jurisdictions, inclusive of the High Court, the Supreme Court, and the ECOWAS Court. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is a member of ECOWAS and a very serious member of ECOWAS. Under the ECOWAS, we have the ECOWAS Parliament, we have the ECOWAS Court, and Mr. Speaker, we must respect the court. What would happen if all these cases that are pending before the courts, they decide and they go against the government? Mr. Speaker, Attorney General, as at now, had not, in most of the cases, had not filed anything challenging the issues at stake. All we are saying is that, Mr. Speaker, under normal circumstances, we have the Chief Justice of the land, and if the seat is vacant, we must have someone to occupy the seat. It must be something that we should do with joy. It must be something that every Ghanaian must be interested. But Mr. Speaker, the very basis that is giving rise for the vacancy of this seat is challenged. The very basis is what we are saying, that it is pending at the various courts. So it has not arisen for us to challenge or to go through the vetting and vote for another member occupy that seat.
Honorable member, please, you may move to another issue. I have already pronounced on this matter. I won't go back. If you are dissatisfied with my pronunciation, my ruling on the matter, by our rules, you know what to do. You cannot come through the back door, go through the front door, and come properly to this house. You may move to another issue.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. I respect you and I respect your ruling, Mr. Speaker. I wouldn't challenge that. I'll move on, Mr. Speaker. Save that, Mr. Speaker, I'm not challenging. I just wanted that is our view, and that is what I expected the chairman to inform the House and to Ghanaians. But I'll go on. Mr. Speaker, amongst the other things that we seek to tell Ghanaians is that the very person, Mr. Justice Bafubani, stands conflicted because the very person that is occupying a seat is sitting under a number of cases to determine the old Chief Justice whether it is right or wrong for the person to be seated. And that we say that he is conflicted.
Honorable member, please. You are a highly respected legal luminary. You were lecturing law at the university. You are now a member of parliament, and you carry a lot of respect. What you are submitting now is at the wrong forum. That is at the wrong forum. And so please, I will just advise that you move to another issue, because you know what to do. The issue you are raising, not here. Please.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful. Mr. Speaker, I accept to plead with you, Mr. Speaker. I thought that we on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, on your left, would want to tell you and Ghanaians why we had indicated that we were voting en bloc. Mr. Speaker, it has nothing to challenge. It has nothing to challenge your reasons. And Mr. Speaker, we have, this is the Parliament of Ghana. And Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious...
Honorable member, please, I'm happy that you know that this Parliament of Ghana. And so, if you have a matter before the National House of Chiefs, you don't move to talk about your case before the National House of Chiefs at the meeting of the Caucus of the Youth. Please, that is a different forum. You know what to do. Please.
Mr. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful. Mr. Speaker, what I pursue to be my duty here, Mr. Speaker, is to urge it out to Ghanaians why we have taken a stand. Amongst the other things is that, Mr. Speaker, we see this practice. This is very serious, that the executive is controlling Parliament and Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the executive...
Honorable member.
The executive...
Honorable member. Please. The statement you just made is a very serious statement. As I sit here, please, there is no executive that can control me. I want to assure you.
Right, Mr. Speaker, I pray thee. Maybe I didn't make myself clearer. But what I mean, Mr. Speaker, is that, and Mr. Speaker, I think I need your protection.
Honorable members,
Mr. Speaker, what I mean by what I've said.
Please, I'm in charge. I will allow the debate to flow within the remit of our rules, our practice, and our conventions. And in fact, I made that known at the meeting at the conclave. Your leaders are aware. But I must apply the rules. If not, my presence here is of no use to the whole country and to the practice of democracy. Please, so I'm very, very careful with what I do. You may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm guided. Mr. Speaker, the point I would want to make here is that there are three arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. And Mr. Speaker, what's our side of the House?
Honorable members, please, I have taken note of all the interjections, and he has 10 minutes. So I'm looking at the 10 minutes, and I'm deducting all the interjections from his 10 minutes. So either you keep your cool, listen, and when it's your turn, you put across your own views, or we stay here till midnight. I will not take any minute from his 10 minutes. So please, you may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Amongst my 10 minutes, I may want to plead, Mr. Speaker, may I remind the House of Article 115 of the Constitution. And I read, Mr. Speaker, there shall be freedom of speech, debate, and proceedings in Parliament, and that freedom shall not be impeached or questioned in any court or place out of Parliament. At the end of proceedings, just a reminder. What I am saying, Mr. Speaker, is that
you just read the provision. It says it shall not be questioned in any place out of Parliament or where? Court. We are in the House here. So here it can be questioned here.
Mr. Speaker, now that I am guided that when a parliamentarian is speaking, one can gag the person, I take note.
Please,
Mr. Speaker.
Please, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, it will get to other people.
Don't mislead the public. Please.
Mr. Speaker, I need your protection.
Honorable member, I will protect you, but don't mislead the public. We do not say gag the member, but you read the provision 115. Please, this is an opportunity for many to learn, and many of our citizens are listening to us. I want to read it carefully. 115. There shall be freedom of speech, debate, and proceedings in Parliament, and that freedom shall not be impeached or questioned in any court or place out of Parliament. So, as I preside here, I can question your freedom of speech applying the rules, but I cannot go out of Parliament to question it or go to court to question it. But here in session, that freedom is open to question or to impeachment. Please, the rules are clear even in our standing orders. Don't mislead the public. You may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the point I am making is that on our side, we believe that one arm of government is controlling another arm of government. And in this case, the executive is controlling the judiciary. By this act, Mr. Speaker, the act of where there is the head of judiciary, that judiciary is removed, and that had not been exhausted. And these matters are pending before various courts. The 7 cases that are pending, Mr. Speaker, I can go ahead and then mention it. Mr. Speaker, amongst other things.
Please, I've taken note. I've taken note of your time. The majority leader is on his feet. Please, what is the issue? I've taken note of your time, please. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, our standing orders in Order 123 clearly prescribes the content of a speech. And 123(2) says that a member shall not use offensive, abusive, insulting, blasphemous, or unbecoming words on a member or any other person, or impute improper motives, or impugn the integrity of a member or any other person. Mr. Speaker, he has said that the executive, that is the president, essentially, when you say the executive, you are talking about the president. He has said that the president, the executive, is controlling the judiciary. Mr. Speaker, for a member to say on the floor that the president is controlling the judiciary, when the president has sworn an oath before this House to uphold and defend the Constitution, and the Constitution does not make provision for the president to control the judiciary. So when you stand in this House and say that the president is controlling the judiciary, you are clearly impugning the integrity of the president. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I therefore think that the member is out of order, and you should direct, Mr. Speaker, that should be struck out of the records of this House.
Honorable members, the member has expressed his opinion. And in expressing his opinion, the member Honorable members, just a few days ago, I talked about the clapping of hands. That is not part of the practice of this House. You can heckle your colleague, but don't use your hand and be clapping. It's not. Please. I identified the person who was doing that. But at least for today, you will be pardoned. Next time, I will not do so. Honorable members, please, let me repeat. The member expressed his opinion. And in expressing his opinion, he never used any offensive, abusive, insulting, blasphemous, or unbecoming words on the executive or any other person. So he's entitled to express his opinion. Once he hasn't used any such word, I think he's in order, and he should continue.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for my protection, for your protection. I'm grateful. Mr. Speaker, there are various cases pending before the courts. There is a matter of the, and Mr. Speaker, if I may make a small reference. There is this case of the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono versus Article 146.
Honorable Member,
Committee.
Please, Honorable Member, you can't take us back. I pronounce on this matter. Why? Honorable Member, you know, please, Minority Leader, may you kindly allow the very competent Honorable Member to continue with his submissions. I am very observant, and I have watched you, and I've seen and even heard some of the things you are whispering to him. That is not allowed. Please, he is competent enough. I am very vigilant. Please. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, Mr. Speaker, with respect, the respected Dominic Nito is here. All we are telling him is to focus and abide by your direction. He's, Mr. Speaker, please, Mr. Speaker, he is a Catholic, I'm a Catholic, you are. I'm rather telling him to focus so that you don't have to come in again.
Please.
Mr. Speaker, I am, with respect, we are here. I am telling him that focus on the issues that are non-controversial. That's what I'm telling him, Mr. Speaker. I beg of you,
Honorable,
for records, I don't want to be misquoted. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, in any event, I have a right to confer with my colleague to confer.
Honorable Minority Leader, you are facing your colleagues. You are facing your colleagues in the majority and also the part of the public gallery behind them. I am facing the majority and facing the minority and facing the whole public gallery. I observe what is happening. Truly, Honorable Dominic Nito kept on drawing his attention to go back my rulings and focus on his dissent. I watched that. I eavesdropped. That is true. Honorable Minority Leader, when you turn and you are talking to him, I don't only see you, but I also hear you. Please, Honorable Member, just go on with your submission.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Now, please, you are now left with 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, it is common knowledge that, and it's our belief, that this constitution, the very constitution that we are protecting and guarding against, is being breached because there was no prima facie case made against the former Chief Justice, and the matter still remains in court. Mr. Speaker, the matter still remains in court, and that had not been dispensed with. Mr. Speaker, other applications have been filed for certiorari that decisions that have been made must be quashed. Again,
Honorable Member,
decisions,
please. No. You can't litigate that case before Parliament. You can't. This is not the forum for that. Please, if you go that way again, I'll apply the rules. You know the rules. Please.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, we also want Ghanaians to know, and I cited the primary facie case, and nobody knows it in Ghana. We are, Mr. Speaker, the reports that, and we are told that there were 3 petitions against the former Chief Justice, and we heard of 1. The report of the committee, Mr. Speaker, remains unpublished. We don't even know what went into that. And we believe that as Ghanaians, before we get to today, we must know the details of why there is vacancy in Ghana that we need to fill. All we are saying that this arm of government and the head of that arm of government, which is judiciary, Mr. Speaker, that seat is not vacant. And even if an attempt had been made to make it vacant, that attempt, Mr. Speaker, we cannot see through that. We think that is faulted, that is
Honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, we expected.
Honorable members, the honorable member has finished with his submission. The time is up. And honorable members, I direct that all what he said after my last ruling are expunged from the records. I have a number of times drawn his attention that this is not the forum for the litigation of those cases. What we are considering now is the appointment of a nominee. That nominee has been taken through the process of public hearing. You had the opportunity to appear before the committee and to put across all what you just alleged. You opted to boycott. It is now not for you to come through the back door and be making allegations. Hearsay evidence is not admissible here. Please, let's move on. We now will listen to, from the majority side, whether they also want me to go by the order that they've numbered. And therefore, from the majority side, they started with the backbenchers. And the first backbencher is Honorable Zuwera